lovelies, welcome to this next Tilly tutorial. So in this video I'm going to be showing you how to attach her hair, and we're going to be using the pre-made wefts in curly and straight, and I'm also going to be showing you how to attach using our usual looped mohair method. Okay, so stay tuned. So for this first hair demonstration I'm going to be using our champagne colour curly weft. Absolutely beautiful. So first things first, cut off around about 25 centimetres from your weft, and we're going to roll this up. So just do your first fold, take your sewing needle, a couple of stitches in there, and then just gradually start folding it over. And each time you do a fold, just do a little stitch to keep in place. Just going to start doing a few more little stitches along the edge as well as we're getting thicker. It doesn't need to look pretty as long as it's just all wrapped round and folded in. Coming to the end now. And just on that edge there I'm just going to fasten off. Okay, so there's our little top knot made, and I've got my glue gun at the ready, heating up nicely. So the next thing to do is take your dolly with her flat head, and we are going to, firstly, we're going to just wrap some thread around this just to keep this little top knot in place. So I'm just using some contrasting strong thread, you can use anything. And I'm just going to tie that up. Like so. And then we are going to hot glue this top knot onto her head. Now if you haven't got a hot glue gun, that's fine because you can actually sew it on, but I like to hot glue it on. So the knobbly bit where the weft end is, that is going back into her head, and you want the top beyond where you've tied it to come just past the seam line there. Okay, and there's your centre seam. So you're going to put it centrally. Now you might decide you want her to have a bit of a side part in. If you did, then you would move that over to whatever side you want her to have her part in on. But we're going to do a centre top knot here. So that's going to line up in the middle there, centralised. So I'm going to take my hot glue, and I'm going to liberally add some glue into this area here. Then I'm going to take my top knot and I'm going to place it on. and hold in place until it sticks. I can get a bit more on, so I'm going to put some under that area there. And press it down and hold again. Lovely. Okay, so she's now got a little top knot sprouting from the top of her head. So like I say, if you haven't got a glue gun, you know, you could hand sew that on, but it's much more substantial if you can glue it on. Then you're going to take your head cap, which we made when we were doing the body, and that is going to go over the top there. So I need to put some glue, just making sure that I'm lining it up properly. And I'm just going to pop in a couple of pins on this side, just randomly, just to hold that in place. Now I know where I'm going to glue. And then I'm going to take my hot glue and I'm just going to run it just along that top edge of the cap. So the inside top edge of that cap, probably about 2 centimetres worth. So just like so, pull that over and hold that down. And now I'm going to pin the head cap in place. Make sure it's fitting nice and tight on that top bit. Okay, so that's in place. So I'm now going to hand sew all the way around there. I'm not starting right at the bottom there. I'm just going to start at this side and I'm just going to do a slip stitch all the way round to sew that head cap on. So round we go with a simple slip stitch. And now we're coming up to where the top knot is. Get that fabric on that cap folded down as close as possible. Do a couple of extra little stitches there. And then feed the thread under the top knot, bring it out the other side on the head there, and continue with the little slip stitch. A couple of extra little stitches just there. And then work round. And I'm just going to fasten off there, which is basically towards the back of her ear. That tail. Okay, so cap sewn on. So now what we're going to do is we're going to stuff the cap. So I've got my stuff in and my hemostats, and I'm just pushing that up through the cap to the top of her head. Work one side and then the other side. Over the top of that top knot that's inside the head. This has just given her a nice shaped crown on the back of her head, so she hasn't got that flat head anymore. Okay, that's nice and firm inside, and it's given her that lovely crown shape at the back of her head. Just going to close that, so pull that down, pin that in, pin that down there. And that down there. A couple more in there. And I'm now going to continue to slip stitch sew that last section there around the side of the head, over the neck and up that side there. Okay, so now she has that nice shaped head with a crown at the back, so she's not flat anymore. She's not flat head, got a nice shape. At this stage I was thinking she looks a bit like E.T. Right, so the next thing to do is to mark out her hairline. So we do a centre point there, that's for the top of her fringe. She needs a good distance from there to there. I'll give you a rough idea of what that is. From the middle of the eyebrows, that is approximately 4 centimetres. 4 centimetres to where the bottom of the eyebrow is there. And then just keep adding your pins in. Oh, don't want a bent pin. Bringing it round to the ear, and you're just above the ear there, and then this way, then I'm just going to check that they're both looking even. Yeah, that's good for me. and then round the side, so it goes up above the ear, round the back of the ear, coming down now, and it's just about hitting the back of the neck there. So around the ear, coming down to the back of that neck. Just going to move that one up slightly, and that one. Yeah, okay, so that is the approximate placement for the hairline. And then I'm going to take my brown pencil. You could use your iron off marker pen or your air erasable marker pen. Only problem with the air erasable marker pen is you do run the risk of it sort of becoming dry and running out before you've had a chance to put your hair weft on. So yeah, so for this exercise I do like to use my brown pencil. So I'm just going to join the dots. All the way around. And then take out my pins. And then just strengthen that line because it's now a dashed line. Okay, so my hairline, my first hairline is marked in. And next I'm going to add my spiral to the top of her head. So I'm bending her neck backwards and forwards as I'm trying to bring it up to the camera. I'm going to need to restuff that, and I'll show you how to do that towards the end. So my spiral is just right where that top knot is. That's going to be the last of my spiral there. Bringing it round, coming back this way. It's going to be right on that top edge. Now, when you draw this spiral on, most times you don't even follow it. It's just there as a guide. You'll find that by the time you're getting up to the top, you've probably come away from where the spiral was drawn on. That's absolutely fine. This is just giving you a guide to follow. Each spiral section is approximately 1/2 centimetre away from the one before. Like I say, it only needs to be rough. Hasn't got to be perfect. So here we come. I'm going to get one more spiral in as I come to that front. Coming around the front now. Meeting up with the hairline that we've drawn in. And then this one is coming to that hairline and it's stopping just there. Let's carry on with this side bit. So from here, I need my segments 1/2 centimetre spaced all the way down. So we're going to go like this, just to give us a rough guide as to where they're going to be positioned. I'm going to do the same the other side. Now, you don't always necessarily get exactly the same even count from that side to this side. That doesn't really matter. because it will all line up in the end. So this one's coming around here and here. As long as they're approximately the same distance, it will all work out in the end. So if you get to this stage here and you count that side and it's the same as that side, give yourself a high five, because it doesn't always work out like that. Should we have a count? That belongs to that one there. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then this side, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, well, I was one out. So like I said, it doesn't really matter all being done, because at the end of the day, when all the hair's on, it's not even going to notice that section there. Okay, so the next line we're going to do is we're going to do the one just above the ear, either side. We're going to join those together. So take that through. So there, so those two meet, and then we're going to do some straight lines down here underneath. One more. Okay, so that's that bottom section done. So now we need to join these ones to these ones. We know we've got 10 one side and 11 the other. I'm going to put in 10 pins down that centre line there. So that's roughly where I'm going. But we know that we're out in numbers, but that's going to be fine because it's going to work itself out eventually. Just going to do a little flicky line through where those pins are. Pins out. And now I'm going to join up. So I've got my 10 lines there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've got 10 this side or 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 10 should all meet. So we just bring that through there. Okay, so we know we've got 11 this side. Let's do the top ones first. Okay, so that's her head all marked out. Okay, so if you haven't got a hot glue gun, you can actually sew it on as well, but it's just much easier and quicker to glue it on. So I've got my weft in the right position, because if you look at your weft, you'll see that it's got a turnover of some very, very short little spiky pieces on your weft. That is the bit that you want against the head. So you might have to turn it around to get your weft in the right position. So we're going to start with this first one down here. I'll take my glue gun. And I'll just do a little bit at a time. Stick it on. Hold it in place. Press it down. And release. Next little bit. Hold it down. And then just before we get to the end, find out how much you need and then snip off at that end. And that's ready to go next time. Glue that last little bit on. Hold in place. You end up with really gluey fingers. Okay, next line. Okay, I'm going to continue to work through all my lines right the way along. Okay, so we're into gluing the spiral now. So don't worry if you go off kilt a little bit with where the spiral lines are. It doesn't really matter as long as you're butting the wefts up together, close together as you're working along. It is what it is. And it will all meet nicely at that little top knot. Okay, so that's up to the top of the spiral done, right the way round. And then all we need to do now, let's move that lot, is to snip that thread from that top knot, which we no longer need. Get rid of that. Lovely, and then we're going to iron. We're going to separate that top knot out, so we've got bits of strands going to the back and to the sides and a little bit to the front. And then we are going to hold that down and iron that in place. Okay, so just play around with it and let it hang where it naturally wants to fall with this curly weft. And then when you've got it into position, just take your cotton cloth, polycotton, piece of cotton, whatever you like, hold that on tight and take your iron and give it, oh, I need some pull on my glue gun there. Give it a good old iron all the way around on, just on that top bit, really pressing down into that top knot. And then once that's cooled down, you can remove your cloth and that should be nicely positioned, not sticking up all over the place. I love this weft. Beautiful, isn't it? And I've found a pair of panties to put on her. Cover her modesty. So yeah, so that's our curly weft done. We're now going to move on to a straight weft. So now on to applying this gorgeous auburn straight weft onto this dolly, using the same process as before. So I've cut off my 25 centimetres from my weft, and I'm just rolling this into a little tube. Don't worry too much about your stitches because they're not going to be seen. And it doesn't really matter what colour thread you're using either. So my top knot's all sewn together at the top, and I've added the thread just to keep in place. Now we're going to glue that onto the back of my dolly's head. So finding the centre seam, that's going to be placed in about that area there. Pop some glue on. And then stick that down. Pin the cap in place, turn that bit over, add some glue along that edge, right on the edge there. And bring that over onto the top knot. Pin the head cap on and sew in place. Head cap sewn on all the way around, apart from the gap at the bottom, and now we will stuff. So that opening closed. Cap sewn on all the way around, hairline pinned in. Now to join them all up, take the pins out and join all the line together. Spiral drawn on the top. Side lines drawn, totaling 9. I've popped pins in that side, 9 pins, so that I know that I'm going to get my correct count going back this way. 9 pins placed in down the centre back, so I can now match those pins to these lines. Just draw those in as little flicks to start with. And then match with the ones on the side. So all the lines are now drawn in, ready to start gluing on the hair weft. I'm now gluing on the wefts. At this stage I start following the line of the weft rather than the line of the pencil mark, because I feel that I haven't got enough. Having 9 up there probably is not enough. I would probably need 11 or 12. So I'm just following the line of the previous weft, because I do like the wefts butted nice and close together. So that will give her a fuller head of hair and hardly any gaps. And then after I've added each weft with the straight hair, I just like to comb it through. That's going to take off any of the loose hairs, and it will take out any of the glue that's there and any of the little bits and bobs that are stuck in the weft. So just comb through on each one. So she's looking good. I'm loving this auburn hair. So if you feel that your drawn lines aren't in alignment with the way your hair weft is going, that's not a problem, because you can always add more in. So I'm sort of dipping down a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a small weft just in this piece here. So just along this bit. But just along this edge here. So now I can start again and bring it along here. So now I feel like I'm more back in alignment with my lines. So it's just a matter of adding in that little extra piece at the back there. Okay, onwards. Okay, so I'm working my way in the spiral now. So just finishing off now. I do little bits at a time here so that the weft goes into the bend. Just a little bit. Pop that in. Press it down. Occasionally you get quite a hot bit of glue on your thumb, but you just have to be brave. Around this corner. Okay, so now I'll give her a comb before I bring the top knot down. Just get all those placed nicely. They always look like they've had a bad hair day at this point until you get the iron on them. Okay, looking good. So I'm going to cut the thread off of there. Give that a little comb out. And then that will be divided front, back and sides as we iron it. Yeah, so that top knot will be ironed out nicely. They always look a bit fly away at this point, but yeah, she's looking good. Okay, so just like when we did the curly weft, position it to where you want it to be, hold it in place, put your cloth over the top, piece of poly cotton or just a piece of cotton, hold that on tight and iron away, really pressing down on that top knot so that it lays nice and flat. And then once that's cooled down, you can peel away the cotton, and her top knot now should be nicely flattened. Let's give her a little comb. I do love these mohair wefts because they are just so combable. What little girl wouldn't like to have a dolly where she can comb her hair and it's not going to get all matted? Okay, so yeah, she's looking quite sweet. Okay, so now on to another weft attachment, and this one is going to be slightly different, whereby we're going to be having the mohair sweeping over to one side. So this prevents it from falling over the face and having to tie it back. This is going to be a natural sweep of the weft going over to one side. So on to another new dolly. This is our caramel doll skin with the green painted eyes. So I've marked out her hairline, and I'm going to do like before, just join all the pins up for positioning. This is a lot more complex, the attachment of this side parting weft. We're going to be marking it out with our iron off marker pens. If you get the placement wrong as you're marking it in, don't stress, don't worry, because you can just iron the pen mark off and start again. You need to get the placement quite precise. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to take my blue pen, and I want my side parting sort of centre of her eye up around about here. Okay, so I'm going to place a blue line here. So this is my side parting. Now I'm going beyond the cap. So I sewed her head cap on all the way around. I didn't leave any gaps at the top for a top knot. This is the head cap has just been sewn on completely all the way around. So I've taken that blue line slightly beyond where the head cap starts. Then, oh no, I'm going to keep it in the blue pen. Then I'm going to place a mark sort of temple height, about there, and the same the other side, about there. And then I'm going to draw that line all the way in around here. So I might have to just bend her neck slightly so I can see as I'm going around. So this is coming like so. That side, and then the same meeting round this side. Okay, so you've now got like a curve going all the way around the top. Then I'm going to change to my red pen and I'm going to draw in a series of just straight lines starting from the centre mark. Now my lines are roughly probably just under 1/2 centimetre apart. But again, this is just a guide, so when you come to actually sticking the weft on, if you don't follow these lines exactly, it doesn't matter. This is just a rough guide. So they're all going down to that hairline at the front. And repeat on this side. So now we have got like a little train track across the top. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start the lines which go around the back. So I'm going to go back to my blue pen. I'm going to take the next line just under that line where I did that temple line. So another one there. And another one there. And then this one is going to go round the back of the head, and I need it fairly straightish, so I'm thinking around about here. So I'm putting that mark in there. So this mark here is coming to meet this mark here. So we're going straight over like so, and then this one is coming over to meet this one here. Okay, now like I say, if you're using the iron off pen, it's absolutely fine. If you get that wrong, iron it out and start again, okay? Now what we need to do is we need to fill in all the gap up here. So using our just under 1/2 centimetre spacing, we are going to draw in some lines to fill in that gap. Okay, at this point here, I'm going to do 2 straight ones, so one there and one there. Okay, so now I'm going to continue with this line going down, but what I'm going to do is, like before, I'm going to pin it out first just so that I'm getting the same amount either side. So both sides I've marked 4 pins here and 4 pins here, and I've put my centre back one, which is going to be this one, but as you can see that area there is smaller than this area here, so I will have to add an extra line of weft in here. So I'm going to do the 2 bottom ones first. So that's from that pin there, taking that round to there, that pin there, taking it round. This one here is going like this. This one here is going like this. And as I've got one more there. No, that's that one there. So I have got probably a gap there that I would put 3 in there. So I'm going to do another one here. And then another one which doesn't come to the beginning. It starts over a bit. It's going to be there. And I'm possibly going to need to put another one in here. I'm going to repeat that pattern for this side, and then the underneath is pretty plain sailing because that's just straight all the way down to that neck edge. And one there just on that lower part of the neck. So I'll repeat that for this side. So my weft lines are all now fully drawn on. And I'm ready to start gluing. And as before, we're going to start right at the bottom and we're going to work our way up. I'm using our lovely darkest brown chestnut colour, which goes beautiful with this caramel skin tone. Okay, so let's crack on. Okay, so now we're on to this little bit here where we've got that small weft section. So we're going to just glue that a little bit first. Hold it down, let the glue set, then move over. So this little bit here is just a very small little weft that we needed for that section there. Hold that down. And then don't forget, in between each weft, as you're gluing it on, just take your comb and comb through it, and that takes out any loose pieces of hair, any sort of particles that you don't want there. You do get absolutely covered in it, of course. So now we're going to start another line, and this time we're slightly above the top of the ear. Make sure that all your wefts are straight above the one below. You don't want hardly any gap, and press it down. So keep them nice and tight. Okay, so now we're working this top bit under that curved line. So I'm just coming up to those last couple of straight rows there. Looking good. Okay, so now we're coming round to this curved front bit. Okay, so now we're on to these straight lines along the top here, and some of them are just going to be straight, but some of them are going to flick back onto this last weft. So you might do a straight one, then a flicked up one, straight one, then a flicked up one. You'll see what I mean as I go along. Because they're only short pieces, I like to cut before I stick. So I'm going to measure that one out. And I need to cut that about there. snip that off. Add the glue. And pop that one in place. Right, this next one is going to start on the weft, 1/2 centimetre, and then curling back in. So I'm going to put the 1/2 centimetre piece on first, and then I'm going to snip it. So a little bit on the weft, just a tiny weeny bit of glue. Position that on. Hold in place. And then that's going to turn to go into that straight line. Snip that off there. Pull it back, add the glue. And stick down. This next one will be a straight one in there. So measure what I need. Snip that off. Add the glue. And stick in place. This next one will be a curved one. So put the glue on about 1/2 centimetre along the weft. Stick that down on top of the weft. Cut to what I need. Add the glue. And stick in place. Straight one. So add the glue to the weft. Stick that on. Add the glue. And stick in place. So I'm continuing like that up to there, so it's a straight one, a curved one which is going along the weft, down, straight, curved, straight, curved. So I'm getting towards the end of this first side, so this one is going to be a curved one. So pop some glue on to the weft. Pop the weft on. Hold that in place. Cut to size, glue on. And then I've got my blue mark line there. And I'm going to do one more straight one on that bit there. Let's give that a comb. Get rid of all those little bits. And then I'm going to repeat what I've done on this side, just on those few little bits there. So I've got a straight one, then I'll have one that goes up into the weft, straight along, then I'll have another straight one, then I'll have one that goes into the weft and along, and then I'll probably have another straight one. See how we get on. This is going to be a straight one. And then finally, I'm going to do one more, and that's going to be on top of the last side, going through there. Okay, so that's that last one put on. So I'm just going to give her a comb. She's going to, and then as you can see, the hair sits nicely to the side and it doesn't constantly go over her face. So because you've got that final weft showing there, that's now prominent, that's the reason why on these ones with the side partings we add the flowers, and that just covers that weft. So I'll show you how to do that next. But first, before I put her flowers on, I'm going to give her an iron like I've done with the other ones. I mean, her hair is laying a lot flatter than the one with the top knot, obviously, but I still like to give them an iron. So take your cloth, your polycotton or cotton piece of fabric, hold it over the top, nice and tight. And just take your iron and just over the top, around the sides, give it a good old iron. Peel the fabric away, and then that's nicely set in place. I'm also going to give her a little haircut. Because on the back of these wefts, the very ends can be a little bit straggly. I mean, if you like them like that, that's absolutely fine. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to snip away that section there. So I'm just going to get my comb, give her a comb through. Let's move that over there a little bit. Give her a comb through. Does make a bit of a mess, and then take my hairdressing scissors, just hold her at that angle, and I'm just going to snip off those ends. Okay, so add in the flowers. So we've got a different range of flowers in our online shop. I think we're going to do, I think 4 of these little ones. What you need to do is you need to snip the stem, but don't snip it right off close to the top, because otherwise then it will all fall apart, the flower. So just snip it off, fold it over so it's laying flat, and then just take a little snip at it. Okay, so I've got my 4 little flowers, and they are all going to sit nicely in a row along there. Now I'm going to start at the front and work my way along. So I'm actually just putting the glue on that weft edge. You only get one chance. Once they're on, they're on. And I do a flower at a time. So 1 bit of glue on. Choose the nicest looking flower, that one there. And stick that on and hold down tight. Actually, might only need 3. We'll see how we get on. So sometimes it's a good idea just to put them on and place them first, just to see where you're going to put it before you glue it on. Butt them up quite tight, close together. So there's that next one. So that's her flowers on, and that is covering the edge of that weft that was showing. And the dress that she's having is this fabric, so I thought that would be really nice with her green eyes and her yellow flowers. And so now on to this little dolly, and for this one I'm going to be using the looped mohair, and I'm using this in a bronze colour, but I thought I'd add in some highlights as well, so I'm going to use the blonde colour highlights to add in with it. So like always, the first thing you need to do is to mark out the hairline all the way around the front, quite a high forehead, and around the back. And then measure out from your mohair ball. You only need 1 mohair ball. Measure out 6 meters. And when you get to that 6 meter, just add a little marker. So I've just put a little bit of blue yarn around there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the beginning of our yarn, and we are going to crochet this into a chain. So start with a good tail end, make a slip knot, and then just start crocheting into a chain. So I'm coming up to the 6 meter mark now. There it is. There's my little piece of yarn. So just do a little bit more just to take me up to that 6 meters. Okay, just make a long loop. Got that finished bit there. Okay, so we now have a fully worked chain for her head. And now we're going to start sewing our chain on. So using a thread similar to the mohair, start at the back. Now you can mark the hairline out with a pen if you want to, like we did last time, but I'm just going to leave the pins in and just take them out as I get to them. And all I'm doing just to sew this chain on is just a back stitch. So remember to take your pins out as you get to them. Doesn't matter where the thread goes in the mohair. Let's hook that out from your arm. But just a small little back stitch works perfectly. As you work, make sure you pull the chain so it's nice and taut, nicely stretched. Give it a pull. Lay it down and add a stitch. You've got your tail there, that's your starting tail. Leave that on because that adds this part of the hair. So we're coming back to the beginning. And now we just continue working our spiral around the head. And we butt that next chain right on close to the one before. And you just keep working around and around and around and around and around right to the top. So we didn't have to leave any opening at the top of the head cap there. Head cap was completely sewn on all the way around. So I'm just about now running out of my 6 metre crochet chain, and I've still got a little bit more left to do. So I'm just going to run off another metre and I'm going to continue crocheting that. So find my loop where I finished off, take out my marker, and I'm now going to crochet another metre. So my extra metre's done. And now to continue sewing on the spiral. So here we are coming up to the end of the spiral. Just fasten off there. Just see if I can undo those last 2 chains. Yeah, which I can. So now I will just do a good fasten off just to stop that chain from unravelling anymore. Perfect. Let's sink that tail and snip it off. And then I can just cut that length there, and that will be used in with the hair length. So yeah, all done. Cap all nicely sewn on. Now waiting for the hair lengths to go on. So this is our bronze luxury mohair. And this one is our raven premium mohair. And this one is our cerise funky mohair. This one took about 11 to 12 metres because it's a lot thinner. So 11 to 12 metres for the premium, for the funky mohair, and 7-ish metres for the luxury and the premium mohair. So I've cut all my mohair lengths in my bronze luxury mohair, and I've also cut just 10 lengths of the blonde just because I want to bring in some highlights. And we sell all our mohair in small balls of 20 metres, so those small balls are ideal for just adding in sort of different colours to your dolly's hair. Okay, I'm going to add those in more towards the end. Okay, so what we're doing is exactly the same as we would do for our poly dolly. We are just hooking and looping the mohair in. So you take some of the chain, take your mohair length, fold it in half, pull through with the crochet chain, make a loop and pull the two ends through, and then pull it tight. So the gapping is quite far apart, you don't need it close. She's not as full headed with hair as what our poly dolly is, so you can make the spacing you know, quite a lot wider. Pull through, open the loop and pull the two tails through. I'm actually going through the chain, the whole of the chain, rather than just a piece of the chain. Okay, so I'm going to continue to add my mohair lengths to the rest of her head, and as I said, the spacing is going to be quite wide, good 2 to 3 centimetres, because I don't want her hair as full as in volume as what our poly dolly is, and I've made them nice and long so that if I decided I wanted to do a plait or something, I have got the length there. Okay, so I've used most of it. I've still got a few bits left. I might come back to those, or I might not put the extra in. And now I'm just going to do some of these blonde highlights. I'm just going to randomly place them wherever I think they need to go. Nowhere in particular, but just random. Okay, so that's her blondie highlights put in all the way through. I've run my fingers through her hair, so I'm just going to snip the ends. Just those very few bottom ones. There's just little straggly ones at the bottom there. Probably will do some more snipping later, but I'm going to wait for a moment until I decide on what hairstyle I want her to have. So the good thing about doing the looped mohair cap is that you can have sparser hair lengths, because it doesn't show at all because it matches in with the actual hair lengths, and then you can end up having less hair on them, so that's good. And also I've done her quite long, she's got quite long length, so that means that there's going to be enough length there if I decided I wanted to do you know, plaits at the side. She's got enough length there for that. I'm going to leave that for the moment, what I'm going to do with her hair, until I've actually got her dressed and decided on what we're going to do. So here they all are, my 6 little dollies. And in this video tutorial I showed you a couple of methods for doing her hair using the pre-made wefts along with doing the looped mohair. So just to run you through the colours that we do in our range, we've got vanilla, barley, almond, caramel, cinnamon and cocoa. So yes, I think you'll agree we've got skin colours there to suit everyone. So in the next video I'm going to be showing you how to make their dresses, and I'll be using this wonderful Ditsy Daisy fabric. So yeah, so that's the next video that's coming up. So thank you for watching, my lovelies, and I'll catch up with you again soon. Bye!